Just a recap of our top story. Premier League champions Arsenal are exploring a sensational deal to sign Vinicius Jr from Real Madrid. The Brazil superstar has just 1 year left on his current contract, hasn't been able to agree a new deal with Real as of yet, and that means they may be forced to sell him rather than risk losing him on a free transfer next summer. Arsenal have yet to make direct contact with Real over what would arguably be the biggest transfer in Premier League history. Look, let's get more on this. We're joined now by the Spanish football expert, Terry Gibson. Terry, it's always lovely to see you. First and foremost, do you think he will leave Real Madrid?
I'm not so sure, if I'm being honest. I do wonder if there's a little bit of posturing from Real Madrid. They have made an offer to... He's currently on 15 million euros a year net, so that's after tax. They've offered him 20 million. He wants 30 million. So it's about just over 550,000 euros a week net. There's no budging on the contract from Real Madrid. There's no budging from Vinicius. And they're making noises, Real Madrid, now looking at a potential replacement in Yan Mande from RB Leipzig. So it's kind of like they've got a year to go on Vinicius's contract. This has been ongoing now for probably 18 months where his contract hasn't been signed. The club are refusing to budge. The players are refusing to budge. But when you put those figures in the melting pot, it's hard to imagine, even Arsenal and even anybody in the Premier League, matching those sums of money. And we're talking net, not gross. That's all after tax. So he wants £500,000 a week after tax. It's hard to imagine anyone else can pay that. If Real Madrid can't, then I struggle to think anyone else can. And I do wonder whether it's Real Madrid, a little bit of posturing as if to say, right, we're not budging. Other clubs who are interested, take your pick. Or you've got to sign the contract now and we'll keep you for another 3 or 4 years. He's 26 years of age. I don't think they're desperate to get rid of him. I know some people are making a case that maybe it's Jose Mourinho who's trying to push him out the door because they had that controversial game against Benfica last season where Vinicius was heavily involved in all that went on and Jose Mourinho wasn't complimentary to him after the game. I don't think it's a case of that. I just think it's Real Madrid standing their ground, their centre, Vinicius Jr. You either stay at Real Madrid, sign a contract, or you can leave. And as I understand, he's not desperate to leave. I think Real Madrid is still his first choice, but he's going to have to budge on his demands.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? Because there's lots of kind of cogs in this wheel, isn't there? You talk about the Mourinho incident, you know, and whether that would be a part of it. It's interesting, though, because the Telegraph are reporting that Mourinho would actually oppose selling him. But I guess the bottom line is, if he won't sign a new deal, you know, if he's not getting the money that he wants, do they have no choice? I mean, they can't let him go on a free next year.
Exactly. I mean, this is, as I said, this has been going on for 18 months now, and there was talk of him going to Saudi when that was at its peak. That didn't happen. That was for, I think, something like £250 million. So it'd be interesting. No one's really mentioning the actual fee itself. Because his wages and demands are so astronomical, something we're not used to in football. We're used to players earning hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. But when you hear $500,000 net, that's after tax. So the club are going to have to pay him considerably more than £500,000 a week. I struggle to see any club coming up with that unless it is in Saudi.
Yeah.
So he's going to have a choice at the end of the day. Does he enjoy his football still? Does he still want to play for Real Madrid? And there's not many better places to play football. Or does he just want a new experience? But I certainly don't think he'll get, let's put it together, £600,000-700,000 a week.
Yeah, the mind boggles, doesn't it, over the figures?
Yeah.
You know, and Terry, you mentioned the fact that his time in Spain has been marred by numerous instances of racist abuse. We've seen the poor lad in tears at times over what he's had to suffer. Has he given any indication, though, that he wants to leave Real Madrid at any stage?
There have been outbursts when it's been at its worst, and he is the player that suffers most. And it's a hard one to understand because, you know, he's a super talented footballer. You do get that from crowds. If you're that good, you do get booed, jeered and whistled when you play away from home. But when he's singled out as often as he has been, then it has become a problem for him, particularly when he's younger. He's 26 now. He can handle it a little bit more. He shouldn't have to handle it. But when he was 19, 20, 21, in his early 20s, it was a tough watch, you know, watching a player as good as he is, going through that experience of 4 or 5 stadiums a season. It has calmed down a touch, but it's still something that he shouldn't have to suffer and we shouldn't have to suffer watching football. So But there have been outbursts where he has been on the verge. We've seen it. We've witnessed him in tears, and he's come out and said that does he want to continue playing in La Liga? But thankfully, someone that makes a living watching Spanish football, he's a joy to watch, and he hasn't decided to leave Real Madrid just yet. But this is the closest and the loudest it's ever been that he would leave. I didn't think for 1 minute he would leave Real Madrid to go to any other club in Europe ever. But it does look a possibility now.
Yeah, it certainly does. You say he's a joy to watch. We've just had the luxury of watching the most talented players in the world in the World Cup over the last few weeks. Where do you rank him? Where do you rate him?
Well, I thought he had a good World Cup. I mean, in a really disappointing Brazil team. I think he responds well to playing under Carlo Ancelotti. He was problematic for Xabi Alonso, there's no doubt about that. And then Alvaro Arbeloa took over and he returns back to form. But on his day, he's one of the top 10 players in the world. He's certainly, when it comes to attacking players, he's exciting to watch. He got a lot of criticism when he was younger because of his end product. Do you remember he was criticised by Karim Benzema in the tunnel, telling his teammates, don't pass to Vinicius, it's like he's playing for the other team. He showed great character moving from Brazil at a very young age, and he's overcome that difficult start that he had at Real Madrid. And he's been a super talented footballer now for the last 7 or 8 years. And as I said, he's fantastic to watch. In the right team, the right environment, I'm sure he will flourish. But he's not cheap.
No, he is not cheap. Why would he be? Look, you say you love watching him in the Spanish League. We'd quite like, the neutrals amongst us would quite like him in the Premier League over here. Does Arsenal seem like a good fit, or is there somewhere else you think he'd fit in better?
No, I think any team, any of the top teams in the Premier League that are challenging for the title, that are challenging for the Champions League, would be a good fit for him. I mean, there are attributes he has as weaknesses that he has. I don't anticipate him doing much closing down, winning the ball back, chasing fullbacks down the touchline. But you have to adjust for that. Now, whether Arteta is willing to do that. Some managers will, some managers won't, but that's what you get from Vinicius. So, I mean, it's been an issue with him and Mbappe for the last 2 seasons playing together. It hasn't been a success. They haven't won a trophy. Prior to that, Vinicius was in good form. He was winning Champions Leagues, winning La Liga. So maybe Real Madrid do feel that there is a need to change, or is it just a warning to say, if you don't sign the contract, we maybe have got another player lined up to take your place. It's your choice, but that's what you get with Vinicius. On the ball, he's spectacular, but it can be problematic if he's not doing the hard work, the closing down. And we know that a lot of the top teams, top managers, particularly in the Premier League now, they like to close down from the front. And if he's not doing that, there might be a problem.
Terry, given what he's capable of and the fact that he is asking for pretty much double his wages right now, do you think Real Madrid would be foolish not to give him what he wants?
No, I don't. I think there's a limit, and there's a limit for Real Madrid as well. All their players are well paid. He's always been well paid. So if he's chasing the money at Real Madrid, they might take that. They might be offended by that. They're not. They've gone out their way to offer him a 3 or 4 year contract on 20 million euros plus a year after tax. And if they feel that he's not budging from 20 and he wants 30, then I think every club has that right to turn around and say no. And I think every club has that right then to turn around and say, well, you've only got a year left. We're not going to run the contract down. You're not going to run the contract down. We're going to take an offer for you now. So then he has a choice to make. So I think, as I say, I thought it was always unlikely that he would leave Real Madrid whilst in his prime. But this is getting interesting now.
It is getting interesting. Just finally then, who do you think needs it most? Does Real Madrid need him, or does he need Real Madrid?
He needs Real Madrid.
Interesting. Go on, explain more.
Well, I think that it's, I mean, you're talking about one of the arguably the biggest club in Europe. And you could make a case that anywhere apart from Real Madrid is possibly a step down. We're talking, 14 Champions Leagues, European Cups. They are, in terms of presence around the world, I can't think of anyone bigger. And that's, I'm a neutral. There's clubs in England that are very, very big. But there is no one bigger than Real Madrid. It's a monster of a football club. So not many players leave there in their prime to go elsewhere. I mean, we're talking recently, Toni Kroos stayed to the end of his career. Luka Modric pretty much stayed stayed till his 40s and left. You know, it's Ronaldo was probably the last one that stepped away. And that was one of those where you thought that never happened. But if you're stubborn and you demand too much money, Real Madrid are not afraid to turn around and say, well, no, thank you very much. We're going to take the transfer fee for you. Or you can take what we're offering and stay. So I don't think Real Madrid and Florentino Perez will ever look at a player and think, you're going to hold us over a barrel.
You make a good case, as always. Lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Big story because for Yan Mande, I told you, Real Madrid have entered the race very strong. Real Madrid are part of the conversation for one of the most wanted wingers in the market, Yan Mande. So, what's happening right now and what's happening next? Let's touch on more topics regarding this story and also on consequences of this story. First of all, as I told you guys, Paris Saint-Germain have since mid-June an agreement on personal terms, verbal, nothing signed, nothing closed, with the player, but no agreement with Red Bull Leipzig. And now, what I mentioned is that Real Madrid already presented an official bid to Red Bull Leipzig for Yan Mande, 90 million euros plus 10 in advance. Bid rejected by Red Bull Leipzig. The update I can give you guys is that Real Madrid, in direct contacts between the Spanish club and Oliver Mintzlaff from Red Bull Group, Real Madrid already confirmed to Red Bull that they are preparing a new official bid for Yan Mande. So Real Madrid are expected to return to the table with a new proposal. Then, my understanding, and that's another important point of the story, is that Yan Mande has also opened doors to Real Madrid. So, while other clubs from England tried to call to understand if they can hijack the deal, if they can enter, if they can anticipate PSG, if they can find a way, basically, but Yan Mande was not opening doors, when Real Madrid called, Yan Mande started to be very, very tempted. According to my information, Yan Mande is open to joining Real Madrid. And that's an important news. Real Madrid feel that Yan Mande, if they can reach an agreement with Red Bull Leipzig, Yan Mande would say yes to the Real Madrid project. And that's an important story. Don't forget also that Yan Mande is represented by Roc Nation, the same agency representing Vinícius Jr. What does it mean? First of all, Roc Nation will have to talk with Real Madrid to decide on Vinícius Jr. future. 1 year left on his contract, so Real Madrid want to clarify the situation as soon as possible. And so Roc Nation will have conversations with Real Madrid also about Vinícius. But it means, in this case, that for Yan Mande, the connection Real Madrid with Roc Nation, also the agency, for example, representing Hendrik, in very good relationship with Real Madrid, is obviously a factor. And now Real Madrid feel that Yan Mande would open doors to this move. So this is why Real Madrid are going strong. 90 million euros plus 10 in advance, easy to reach, rejected by Leipzig, but Real Madrid will be back very soon with a new bid. So get ready, because this saga is going to be crazy, with Real Madrid going all in for Yan Mande. Why Yan Mande? Because according to my information, Jose Mourinho told those into Real Madrid management, I want more speed up front. I want something fresh up front, a player for more 1v1, more speed, and the player reference was Yan Mande. Real Madrid really want Yan Mande. Real Madrid want to sign the player. While in some cases this summer they, for example, sent a bid for Julián Álvarez but never returned to the table. So many people felt that at that point they didn't really want to move for Julián Álvarez. Yan Mande is a player they really want. Why this all-in for Yan Mande? Because for Michael Olise, the dream target of Florentino Perez, in this case directly linked to the president, the understanding is that on Michael Olise, Real Madrid have a feeling Bayern do not want to sell him. Real Madrid don't want to break the relationship with Bayern. Real Madrid will not bid for Michael Olise if Bayern don't open doors to an exit. And so, after spending 2-3 weeks to understand the situation about Olise, Real Madrid have a feeling that Bayern don't want to sit at the table and try to negotiate on the transfer fee for Olise, and this is why Real Madrid say, we respect Bayern. If at some point, this next summer, in the future, Bayern open doors to the exit of Olise, we could be open to finding a solution and sending a bid. But as of now, Bayern are not opening doors for Olise, and this is why Real Madrid are going strong for Yan Mande. Real Madrid want to sign Yan Mande. So now it's time to see the developments of this story, but for sure is a big update regarding Yan Mande, because Real Madrid will be back to the table, are preparing a new bid, and the player is keen on the move. So for Real Madrid is looking really strong, really serious, really concrete. So get ready for a crazy saga around this boy, because after Liverpool, after Paris Saint-Germain, now Real Madrid, don't forget that Arsenal and Man City called, I told you in the video overnight, now we also have this piece of the story. Then guys, more to say also about the situation of Rodri, a completely separate topic. But on Rodri, guys, it's going to be important to understand two things. The first one is about the price. How much Manchester City want to let Rodri go. That's an important point. Don't underestimate this point. And second, also very important topic, is about the final approval from Real Madrid president, Florentino Perez. Why Real Madrid, if you see in all the reports also over the recent days, why Real Madrid have still not sent an official bid, have still not started the attack club to club? Because the management is waiting for Florentino to say, okay, go ahead, get Rodri. At the moment, they are still waiting for this. Real Madrid held talks with the agents representing Rodri to try to understand the situation, but apart from Rodri being super open, super excited, I told you several times, he wants Real Madrid, he dreams of Real Madrid, so Rodri would be absolutely super keen on the move. On the other side, Real Madrid are yet to sign an official bid because they wait on Florentino approval. So this is the status of the story. Then Real Madrid, in contact with the agents of Rodri, are conversations that are taking place, but before saying that Real Madrid are going all-in for Rodri as they are going all-in for Diomande, we need to wait this step, and that's a really important step, depending on the president. As soon as the president, if the president changes his mind and says, go for Rodri, in that case, depends on the financial negotiation with Manchester City. So, we will follow all these stories. Let me clarify one thing, guys. Yan Mande, Rodri, apart from being completely different roles, but even financially, are completely separate topics for Real Madrid. And in order for these things to happen, Real Madrid also need fresh money, also need outgoings. For example, if they decide to bring in Rodri, they need to generate money. And so we need to understand who could be on his way out of Real Madrid. There is a lot of interest in Gonzalo Garcia, for example, and not only. So we will be following this story, but guys, on this and much more, remember to like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and see you soon, here, every day, with Fabrizio. Let me know your opinion, Diomande, Rodri, and all the rest, here in the comments. Thank you.